Hello and welcome back, or welcome to Season 2 of Hardcore Minecraft with me, Doom Mountain. Last time we had a viewers build episode where we were able to include two incredible build concepts into our hardcore world. We have the hedge maze that is here behind me that still kind of looks like it's been run over by a few snails with all of that glow lichen, as well as dedicating a shrine area over here to nature, to which we brought over our old Foxwood statue from the long ago realm of Midgard, which really helped to actually lighten up this place and bring in just a bit more of, you know, the community, you guys, be able to put a part of you guys into this world. And it was, I thought, a really, really cool little episode. But for today, guys, I think it's time that we address, not this area here. I want to address all the way over here, where we started off that little bit of an intro clip. You can see that the pathway sort of just goes and breaks off into the water. It doesn't continue on, and when we first put in the roads, we said we wanted to build a bridge which led off into our fishing area. Now, a little bit of time has passed since that original idea, and I now sort of have a bit more cemented into my mind what I want to have happen there. And what I want is to continue on with that idea of having a bridge leading over to what I'm going to call the fish markets. It's an area where we can set up and do fishing, but it'll also be an area where we can have a larger surface for docks to be able to have larger ships coming in and out of the bay, you know, bringing in different goods from foreign areas. You know, we might have some of our redstone goodies coming in from the witch farm being brought in by ship. We might even set up, because actually I was in the right spot, there's the village right behind us over here that has that very, very scary, I just blanked on the name. The Pillager Outpost. Yeah, we got that sort of stuff up there. So hopefully, you know, in the near future, there might be a farm going in over there. So we might need goodies to be shipped in over this side. So that's the idea for this episode, is we want to build up the fishing markets, or the fish markets, however you want to call it, in this section behind me. So I think it's time that we maybe jump over there and lay out our blueprints. Alright, so I am now down here at the end of our pathway, and I have my trusty dirt blocks of scaffolding. And so I want to continue the path out 3 more, and then this is where our bridge will start. Now I wanted to go 3 more because I plan on building us a pillar, which is a 3 by 3, and it'll go in, I can jump up there like that. It'll go in this section here, and this part will be shared onto the block, and then we'll be able to continue on. So this will sort of be a non-count, if this is making much sense, and then we'll be counting on from here. And we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Now this one here is going to be the center of our pole, and then we'll have 1 on either side of that to build up a sturdy enough wall and actually sort of hold up the structure. But then we'll continue on again another 7. So starting here with 1, 2, 3, repeat it again, 1 extra. Up we go for our walls. And now we have at least 2 sections of this bridge. And I think maybe let's head out over there and see if we need to add any more before we start building the fish market. Okay, so if we have a look at it now, it looks as though 2 isn't that bad. But I kind of want to maybe bring it out, possibly another 3, just so it's like really extended. It comes off from the island, so you are in a bit more of the deeper ocean section there, which would make sense to have larger ships coming up and docking. So I think that might be the way. Let me go in and place in an extra 3 more segments of this, and then we shall return. Also, yes, I did find another non-pink tree in my island, so I'm still not sure if I should keep this one. Maybe leave a comment. Alright, so now there is a total of 5 of these 7 long segments. There'll be 7 by 5 for the footpath there, and this is going to be the bridge that goes all the way down across. Now at this end bit here is where we're going to start by building off our pathway and how we're going to go around sort of the walkway around what I'm going to see as being the fish market area. So let me quickly sleep away this incoming night, and then we'll meet up over on what's the bridge. Alright, so heading down now to the path here, you can see that we've got our exterior wall on the outside. This will be mirrored over onto this section here. I'm just sort of focusing on having it at one side so I can just get the idea in place before coming in and placing in all the extra blocks. So we'll have our 5 wide pathway going along, and as you can see, well, as I said before, we've got our 7 long segments before putting in a bit of the wall rafting. Now I'm thinking that underneath here will probably be supported with some spruce logs, so we might need to move where we've been growing this so that we can keep a supply coming in. Now this is where I want our path to pretty much meet up with wherever this area is going to be. Like, so this will be the center of our dock, and I'll probably just go along here so I've got the ideas. This is 1, 2, 3. This is center of our path. 4, 5, and we'll have one sort of just like that, just so I can visualize that this is where one of the corner walls will be, and then how our pathway will wrap along. Now I think, you see, I want to continue on this 7 segments again, so maybe if we go with here being 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Then we'll do the extra one and just sort of place it there like so. So we'll mirror that again over on here. So 7. Get our extra block there. Then we place. Can I get off the torch again? Oh, come on. There we go. I have it like so. And now let's take a better look at it from down here. Alright, so that's not too bad. I mean, it's a bit hard to picture it in without the pathway, but I reckon having it in that segment will be fine. So we've got 1 on there, and I'm thinking we come out 1 more, and we do that on the same, so that'll be 5. So then maybe if we do a 5 by 5 by 5, make a big square of it. So yeah, that means that this spruce tree needs to come down, and I've got a fair bit of dirt to place in, so let me get that done and then we'll bring you back in. Alright, so now I have installed our floating dirt platform island, and it's given us a really good blueprint of where our platform is. You can see where all the pillars are going to be going down by each of the markings there. I've also included the central pillar, as well as 4 of sort of in the middle of those sort of sections there, to be able to have a little bit more of structure sort of in there. Very air quotes with it, because we know we don't really need much structure in Minecraft. But yeah, this is our base idea. I did include the other side of the pathing there so I could just really visually see it. But let's head on down there and get the next step of the planning in place. Shut up, Mr. Sheep. Alright, out on our dirt platform now, let's work out where we want our pathway around here to be. And I want this to sort of be the first block, so if we go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, that will kind of keep us in place with how all of our other paths have been. Now, as you will hear, fish keep spawning all around me, and we get that slushing sound. So I think a fish farm might be on the cards for this marketplace. It wasn't initially, but the fish have annoyed me that there might just well be sushi on the menu. Alright, enough talking about sushi. Let's go around now and just continue this pathway all the way around so we can sort of see our lipping and then work out where we want to build the inner building. We're getting quite a lot of fish spawning in here. I'm not even joking anymore. A fish farm might actually be a good idea for a build over here. We might just sneak that in. 1, 2. I'm so close. I'm gonna run out, aren't I? Come on, please be enough. Oh, I can see the finish line. Yes, it was enough. Alright, sweet. But I'm going to need to re-top up. One moment. Alright, so now we've marked out where our outer lipping pathway will be set, and now it's time to come in and work out where we want our inner building to be. Now I think that what I want is a big open floor for the bottom layer of this building, then to actually go up and have, an enclosed what looks more of a building. Now this might be, I think, maybe going to be split tiered. So we might have one that's just the one floor above this open ground level, and then one that maybe goes up an extra floor or something for storage for that. I'm really thinking we put in this fish farm, so storage for all that sort of stuff. Now I want to kind of come out from the center of this line, and let's crouch so I don't just run off into the ocean, and meet up with the center of that one there. So is it going to be here? No, one more. So that should put us in line, like so. It did perfect. Now, I'm kind of thinking that these should be like a 2x2 tall pillar that actually represents that this is going to be a significant structural beam that will support the house above it. So let's just now go ahead and match up all of these ones down. Now, if you're like me, you're probably thinking, well, Mountain, what's going to happen with this space between the pathway and here? I don't know. Storage, maybe. Oh, we might have little stalls set up. Ooh, that could be fancy. Different sections where maybe we've got like a boat repair, something like that. Oh, that could work, yeah. Alright, I don't think we need to panic. I think we'll be fine. Let's put in some torches though, because it is starting to get a little bit darker. Alright, now looking much like a sort of very dirty, blobby mess, we've kind of got our sort of laid outlines for each section. Now, lifting up the corner pillars for that open ground level of the building, I think really does help set apart this, and we can see where the structure is. So I think what we now need to do is go in and maybe just build up a dirt outline of this house. And then I think it might be time then that I just go in and place through all the different blocks. So let's head on down there now before we get into that and finish off building the outline for this house. Alright, let's jump down there. Right, now that we're up here on our first pillar, I think I want this to be about 5 high. So we've originally gone up 2, so I just need to go up 3 more, like so, and then obviously we'll just fill this out here to represent the body of it. And this is going to be where our first level floor is. And now, just like the bottom here, we're going to have to run out along this part. And this time though, I am going to add in a structure beam directly above this one to show that this is where, the next beam will be. Probably should have done the same just here, like so. And then now let's just go ahead and continue this on all the way around until we have our first structure. Alright, and just like that, we have the roof for our open floor planned, as well as our floor for our first floor. Yes, perfect. Anyway, it's now time, I think, where we work out where we want to sort of split this off if we are going to do a bit of a half, structure where one side of the room only has the one floor, where the other might have 2 or 3. And I think that it might be a pretty good idea to maybe go with this side here being the one layer. So I think we bring that up 5. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Go around and get this done on each side. So 1, 2. Maybe I should be connecting these. Alright, and as you can see now, we have out of dirt our first section there built up. Now this one, we do need to go along and have it at this height here, because this will be the first, or the floor of our next level. And then from here, we will take it up another 5. So just got to jump down, meet up with this, bring it up. And then this section here will go up another 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And it will come all the way back down. There we go. And we will now just complete this just like we did with all that. Whew. Thought that was going to be a big of a hit, but then it was. That was actually alright. So yeah, let me just now go along, complete this section, and we'll bring you back in. Now, as you can see, this does look much more of an impressive potential build It's still out of dirt. Yes, I know. We've got our scaffolding blocks there. But as you can see, we now have a full blueprint of our building to be built. Obviously, it's still floating because I didn't go through and connect up all the pillars to the, ocean bottom because I don't want to waste that much dirt. I just want to work out where was our bridge. We've got that done. Where was our platform? We got that done. Where was our pathway for our people to walk through? That too has been achieved. Now we've also got built up our fish market section, building I should say, where we've got the bottom layer going to be an open space with 4 larger pillars holding up the 3-story building above it. As you can see there, that first floor is complete. Then as we go up 1 level, it's just that back part that has 2 before going up to the final section, the further sort of the 4 quad sections there, words, goes up to a 3rd layer. And I think this is going to be really just a bit more of an interesting build on the lands, on the horizon here, looking out to the ocean, and it might give us a bit more of a chance to actually play with maybe having some craneage sort of system, be able to work as unloading ships that have come up the side and docked and that sort of stuff. And yeah, I think that's pretty well much how it's going to look. Now, I think that what I'm going to do is just come in and fill in all the blocks that we use. Now, you guys know full well that if it's an important bridge, or not a bridge, but an important path, it's now going to be a bridge, we use the checkered sort of step of the polished granite and polished diorite. And that's going to be what's looping all the way around here. Our structural pillars will be made of the sandstone, the chiseled sandstone, smooth, and those sort of ones there. As well as the structure of our building, well, take a guess, it's probably going to look something like one of these. So, I hope, guys, that, we can, I can do it justice, get it finished, and then we can be able to come back and just sort of swing on past and do like a little flash, quick spin around, and then it should be all done. Good luck editing this mountain. Have fun. Whee! Oh, this was not an easy edit to do, and I don't know if I managed to pull it off, but here we go. Finally. Now, for you guys, this only took a few seconds, but for me, this has been a long and tedious task to get us from our, the dirt skeleton shape of this build to actually now having it as just its shell. So that's all we've got here, is just the shell of what we would usually have for a build. And honestly, I think it is coming up really, really nice. We've got our bridge which connects back to the mainland. We've got that stretching out with and this is probably one of the longest taking parts, was getting the detail done on these pillars. And we will go up a little bit closer so you can actually see it, for what it's actually got in it. As well as collecting up all of those lecterns, like the amount of leather that we needed for that was incredible. But then as you can see, we've got our wraparound pathing out the side there. Now you can see that there are 2 spots which just kind of, don't have a filled in section there, and well, we'll get to that too. But instead of just saying things we'll get to, let's actually head on over and enter into our fish market area. Now, as I was saying before, this did take me quite some time, and that's probably why this episode has been delayed so much. But I honestly think that this is coming along as a nice, bigger build than we are used to doing around here. And honestly, I'm really happy with it. Look at all of this space that we have. So as you can see, we've got our path that leads all the way around, as well as these lecterns. Now, the tops of these stones have been left, plain, and that's because I want to go around and put the half slab of copper along it. Now, I think that's going to be the first thing that I get done after I finish recording this little bit, because we need that to start aging, otherwise this is going to take even longer to get done. But as you can see, we've gone around the outside very similar, except for when we get to one part over here and another one just down there. And these sections are where I would like to extend the dock out a little bit further and actually build up some ships coming in and docking at this section. Now, after seeing how long it's taken me to get this done, I don't think that's going to be happening in this episode. However, though, it's on the plans and I am collecting resources for it as we speak, so it doesn't take as long as this has. Now, if we come on and look in here, you can see that I have included a very simple stairway because I wasn't too sure how I wanted to be able to go up through the levels. And I honestly think this just works as a nice little wraparound. And we can come up here first off, and we're going to have our nice big stalled area here. We can have storage and, you know, anything else that might be needed to be kept maybe on ice. Say we've got some chilled rooms up here where we can keep the fish and that's stored. You know, let the imagination run wild. Now, as you can see here, I've got a large opening space and also a bit of the previous roof from the other side. That will be removed because I'm thinking that if we go straight down the center here, open up this window and create like a little bit of a lift that meets up down with the pathway there, we can actually bring in goods up into the roof up here, and then we can store them in this space down here. So that's my thinking, to be able to add in a little bit more, you know, uniqueness and take away from the flatness edge of that surface. So let's head on up to our final floor, which is going to be a little bit of a bedroom. Actually, no, this isn't our final floor, sorry. This is more where the sleeping quarters will be, a bit of resting. As you can see, I've made it so that we can have a little bit of a balcony to walk out, and honestly, that view will look a lot cleaner when we get the extra docks added out there and put in some boats and that, you know, sailing on the waters. But we'll get a nice lovely view out at that. Before we head on up the stairs, now here we have where I've got to add in a bit more windows just here, just so that the symmetry looked neater on the outside, where this room was probably going to be viewed mostly from. And I think that this will just be another bit of a storage space before we head up to the roof. Now, I did go ahead and get some of this built up on a live stream, and whilst we're on the stream, we discussed putting in a massive big crane up on top of this roof to collect up the goodies that are on the ships and the docks from over there. Now, this is going to be, you know, very imaginarily, you know what I mean. It's going to be using a lot of our imagination to, you know, picture that there would be a nice heavy crane supported very comfortably on this. Hence why we went through and put in a bit more of the secured platforms that this is all floating on. Now, with that said, let me sleep away this night, and then we can actually go and investigate those stone pillars. Alright, so as we start to dive a little bit deeper in the water, you can see here more of the texturing I've done. We've started off with like tufts that's all grimy and dirty. We've got the cracked stone bricks, as well as some cobblestone, mossy cobblestone, just standard stone, standard blocks, brick blocks, as well as some mossy ones. And we've just sort of textured that all the way up each pillar. Some of them were a little bit more easier, like all these ones here. Others involved a little bit more thinking, where we've sort of got it angled at the corners. However though, other than being attacked by drowns, this wasn't too hard of a task to achieve. Now, as you may have seen as we went underneath though, this looks horrible because of all the gapping, because it's all the half slabs up there. So what I want to do is just run a lip all the way around here and just sort of match that up so that we don't have that sort of weird bit of a texture gap between the pillars and the bridge. It all looks like it's all connected and is sturdily in place. When we were building up parts of this, I'd spoken about possibly having a fish farm. And well, I don't have many magma blocks, but I was curious, and I have been putting this on, put this down here. It has nothing underneath it to actually collect, as you saw with the fish just floating on top of it. However though, it is working, and it's not just working for fish. I'm also finding that we are getting up some drowned and, you know, getting copper from them and that sort of stuff. So yeah, look, and because we unloaded chunks and then reloaded them back in as we went away to sleep, you see fish, they, the bubbles sort of stopped being activated, so all the stuff that was up there has just floated up to the top and was a bit easier to collect. But I'm thinking we should run some minecart rails underneath this and wrap it the whole way around here, and this way we're going to have a really, really simple fish farm that's just going to be passively going along for us. We don't really need to think about it or work. Look, right there we go. It works perfectly. So yeah, I think that that's going to be definitely something that we get built up after we get these extra little attachments to our farm. Ooh, got to check my own air. This one's a hardcore, so we've definitely got to make sure that we can breathe, but my helmet does let us stay under a bit longer. And as you can see, our goodies, some have floated up to the top, others, there we are. Plus the good thing is, we also get bones from this, so it's also going to be like a mini bone meal for Hum. Ooh, baby drown. Now, can we get him to demonstrate that they will go over these magma blocks? Come on.
So say we're here, they will stay on it and go away.
So see, it won't be just a fish farm, it'll also work for us for drowns. Now, I don't think that there is anything else down here to show you off, except I did, because I kept falling down, put in a nice, simple stairwell just to get back up and down from these sections. Alright, so I've up close showed you all now all the different parts around here. Let's jump over to the viewing tree again. Alright, now that we're back here at the viewing area, we've gone through and shown all the nooks and crannies of our brand new build, which I do believe is one of the biggest builds we've done in an episode just at this point so far, and we haven't even finished adding in all the extra stuff because of all the resource gathering I've had to go ahead and get done. I mean, this has taken a lot more planning than most other buildings. But I think what I need to get done now is I need to go underneath and complete that little bit of the hidden lip that you don't usually see, but I just want that as a peace of mind finished. I would also like to go around and definitely start getting those copper slabs up along the tops here, because we need them to age quickly. Like there's some around there by the winner's circle that still haven't aged, so it's a slow process, but we need to start that now. And yeah, I think I'm not going to go ahead and do the fish farm part yet. We will definitely be doing that together. So I just want to get that lipping done off camera now and get up those half slabs. And then I think what we'll do is we'll come back and start planning on the lift above this house, or on this face of this surface that we were talking about. And then from there we'll move on and get the crane done. And then it'll be just time to do some interior work. So let me go get those half slabs done, and then we'll be right back. So as you can see, adding in these half slabs really helped clear up this whole, just the underside of all of our bridging here. And I think it was really worth going along and adding in that little bit of detail. I didn't do it over here because, as you can see, the pillars and everything actually line up nicely and it looks clean. It gives it that proper bit of depth. However though, this section here just really didn't cut it, so we had to fix that up, and I'm glad we did. And now that we're out of that splooshy water, which there was just the update for 1.20.40 where they actually fixed that splooshing water sound, if you're not too sure what I was talking about, in our Naked and Scared little mini-series. Yeah, I complained a lot about that, and they have now finally fixed that, which is much appreciated. But rambling aside, as you can see, I've now gone around and placed in all of our copper half slabs. Some of them are aging nicely, others are being a pain, but you know, hopefully we'll be able to get them to age before the end of this episode. Now, as you can see, I've left a middle space here. On each of them, the corners have the actual middle sort of section where the two join together. And that's because I wanted to bring over our light posts that we've got all around the place and actually have a source of lighting for this area here, because as you can see, now we've got these torches underneath each section where one of these lecterns, street lights, whatever you want to call them, is going to be placed. And I didn't want to keep the torches here, so I thought this would be probably the best bet. So yeah, I'm not going to go through and show you how we build them up again, because I think I've done that quite a few times already in the series. So yeah, next, if you guys just see them popping up, that's exactly what they are. Alright, so now that we've got our shell complete, let's actually start adding in these details that'll break it up from just looking like a bit of a boxy shape just here on the water. And one of those first key steps is I wanted to have a little bit of a pulley lift system that comes out from the window top just above us there, as you can see from that dirt block, indicating where the floor of that level would be, and then where I want the chute to come from. So we want that to come out and line up perfectly within this space here, so that way we can have a cart that gets, you know, lifted down from the top there. We can load up all the goodies that come in from the ships off over on these sides, or even just stuff that we bring in from the land, and we can easily lift it up to the top floor. So we now know exactly where we want it to come out to. So this is going to be our edges. So let's bring it up into line with this one here for first, so that we know where our ground floor is. So, okay, so there we go. Now if we're here in line with this, we're on the floor, so we need to come at least one higher. And I think we want it to be a nice 3 space, so we want it to come in line here, go up 3, and then coming out. And this is where, yeah, we're going to want our log support bead. Let's hope this doesn't hurt. Oh, not too bad. And it's got to come out this far. So this will be in line, but because you want it to look more sturdy, we just bring it out 1 extra. Now, this gap should be 5, so we go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That should line us up with where we need that one to be. So 4. Yep. And then we just add 1 on the top there, 1 on the back, and then we've got our simple shape of where this support beams are going to be. So let's tie this up and get these support beams in, and then let's talk about the actual platform and what we're going to use as the pulleys. So back in a moment. Alright, so I've now gone ahead and installed our large beams that will lift up our cargo and bring it up onto this second floor to be able to be sorted and stored. And now to do this, we went with the stripped spruce again that just sort of stretches out all the way. We've connected it up with its supporting beams up on the roof. Now I have gone to sort of off-center each one of these to sort of just make it have a little bit more characteristic, plus also we're not going to be up here too often, so if it didn't turn out too nice, it's not like I was going to see it all the time. But for the chains and the pulley system, as you can see, we've gone along with actual chains and the grindstone, because I thought that that looked like a really cool sort of just wheel and a cog being turned and supported into place as these things were being brought up. Now, we've got a bit of the dirt platform, which for now this is representing how far down I want the chain to go, and then when we get down the bottom there, we're going to build up the actual platform that will be lifted up into this section. Now, these 2 dirt bits of support beams here represent, well, just that. It looked a bit weird having this whole section just floating out into the build and not really having too much support, so I've decided that I think if we go along with this here, so I'll be bringing along connecting that 3 space there and then sort of having it angled down as though it dips down a little bit, stairs either side, and then we can have our support beams coming off here, and that's really helping keeping this up and lifted into the air. Now I do have the building blocks which I need for this section here, so let's try and have a little bit of a crack at it. So it's going to be, well, I think we're just going to go with the doubles on that there, and we'll have a stair here. This one here will be another double, and this one's going to be the upside down stair, and we're just now going to have another upside down stair on this section. I'll come back and fill up that afterwards, and then we're just going to repeat this pattern all the way down on both sides. So from the angle down here, that doesn't look too bad of a support. Now I think maybe we need to add a little bit more detail, so maybe having another log running through the center of that, so it actually looks like it's a bit more, you know, supported in through the frame. But other than that, that's not bad of a little bit of a support beam up there, and it really does help tie it together. Now, is it a bit too much of the spruce? Maybe. I might let that sit with me for a little bit and see how it looks. It might look a lot cleaner when we get rid of that dirt and actually get those chains in place. So, yeah, why don't we actually head off and do that now? And in order to get rid of the dirt blocks here, we're going to need to place down these trap doors. Now, we're placing them on the bottom part of this dirt block, so that way we can actually place items on top of them and actually use this as a bit of a lift. Now, I am going for the spruce trapdoors, and yes, very slowly, carefully trying to actually get them in place, because, well, we've got the lip around already using the, the oak trapdoors, and I don't want to have too much of that. Now, as we said, looking down on the bay there up at these supports, is there going to be too much spruce then around this area? I'm not too sure, and it might be something that we'll have to have a look after we finish getting this design in to make these minor changes. But yeah, for now, I think that's not too bad. Let's head up on the top there so that way we can put in the railing around it and actually get the goodies in and get our chains up, and this will be all finished. Alright, now the great challenge is actually trying to place these on these dirt blocks without falling. As long as I get the first one on the right spot, we should be all good. Yes, okay. Now I'll just use this as our guider. Try and get around the corner, but I might be able to... There we go, place a dummy block in. Perfect. Alright, so I'm just going to quickly finish getting this around and we should be up to the last stage for this lift. Alright, so now we have our little bit of a basket for the lift here, and what we're going to do is go around and put grindstones on each of these corners and then just connect up the chains and, you know, put a few chests in here, and this will be all complete. So we find the chain, there we go. Place it all the way down. Oh, got a crouch put on that one. And there we go. Now we have our whole pulley system in place. You can get rid of all of these guiding dirt blocks. And we're away with this. So I think now what I'm going to do is just tie this up here, and then we'll head on up and start working on the crane. Now I'm trying to get through this a little bit quicker so that I can actually get this episode out, because guys, I've been working on this for quite some time and it's driving me insane. So let's try and finish off this fish market. Back in a moment. Alright, so as we can see here, I've gone around and placed in some of the chests, a few barrels. We've got some composters with trap doors on top of them to create more crates, sort of looking items, and this sort of really gives a nice representation of this lift in motion. Like, it's already picked up some goodies and now it's bringing it up top. It's also the only area that we actually have any sort of detail done to, but you know, we'll get to that a little later on. With this done now though, it's time to go up to the top and start working on our crane. So let's head on up there now. Alright, so we are now up here on our top level of our fish markets, where we will be putting in our crane, which will be collecting goodies that are coming from ships coming in off of this dock over here and this one on this side. Now, I have already realised that I have bitten off more than I can chew in this building. Yes, so they are going to be coming at a later date, but we can still get our crane in place and, yeah, ready to sort of be built. And I think we may as well jump into it. I've got a few different building blocks to go off of. I think we're going to use the dark oak logs just because they sort of give off a bit more of a contrasting colour compared to the other browns of the stripped spruce that we have. And I was thinking, now I'm not too sure if I should go with like a standard sort of barrel, so I want it to be kind of 2 in from each of the corners, so it's going to be like this. So we go with an ideal for this part, or if I want them to be like this, and then obviously we're going to stack up our logs on top of them. Now, you see, the only downside with this is that these two colour matches, they don't go super well. However though, this does look like it's a sturdy sleeve that is over the timber. And I think using the copper blocks might be our better option. So let's go ahead, get rid of this. Really wish I'd worked that out before I made 18 barrels, but I'm sure we'll work out a use for them. I hope. How we want it to be tall because it needs to stand out over the rest of this building. So we're going up from here 1. Let's go up for our usual 5. No, we'll go up 7 because that's sort of our standard tall structure height. So we'll go 1. All right, so we're up 7 high, and I think this might be a good starting point to maybe have. Let me try that again. A good starting point to maybe show off where we can have a bit of the support being chained out. So these are 2 off from the side, and if we go with the different type of spruce here, we can try and maybe have it highlighted. I might change this a little later on, I'm not too sure. But at the moment, there we go, that's 2... Wait, no, it needs to be, this one here would be where the part comes up. So this gives us a representation of a support beam, and we'll have them on either side. Okay, so this would be our first tier. Then I think, let me just go build up this fully, and then we'll bring you back so we can see what one complete tier looks like, and then we'll work out from there how many of these tiers we need to go up. So, one moment. So this is what one section of it's looking like, being 7 tall, and I think it's alright. We do definitely need to work out a cross section in there. I'm not too sure how that's going to be because it's only 4 sort of wide in the middle there, so I'm not too sure how we're going to build up that cross beam, but we might just bring in the dirt blocks and get them to help us guide out where we need to get the support in. But from looking at this, I think we need at least, we want this to be a big build, so 3 more of these sections up there, so each one will be 7 tall. So yeah, we're going to take this 21 more blocks higher, and then that's where our peak will be, and then we can start building our crane off of that. So yeah, let me get that built up, and hopefully I won't fall. Alright, now that looks like an impressive base for this tower for our crane. It looks quite supportive. Now I do agree, I really need to go back and work out the diagonal cross sections just so it doesn't look so hollow. And also we've got to go through and wax all those copper blocks because we don't want them to age. Remember the rule of this area: if the copper's on ground level, it's got to oxidize. If it's up high, it's decorative. We want to leave it as copper, make it shine. But I think that this is coming up really nice, and it's given me the idea of that's probably actually going to be best if I jump back over there to show you. Alright, so we're up here now on top of the tower, underneath our crane, and let's go through how I want to assemble this. Now, I think that at the start we should have a nice long shaft that runs all the way up to the top, and this acts as our mechanism that allows us to turn the crane, have it move from side to side so it can actually get to the right angle and be able to pick up the cargo that it is transporting. Now for this we'll be going all the way up to the top level. Now I don't want to put down the water again because it kind of messed up everything, and I did a terrible job. I don't even know if I'm going to leave that in the episode. No! Instant regret! Shit. But once we get up there, I want to leave about 1 block gap between the top of this frame and then the top of the shaft. So that way, you can see that there's nothing that's going to be rubbing on top of each other and that. And then we can build our geared platform where on top of it will sit the housing for our crane, and we can then have, the arm coming out from the top. So I know that's a lot of talk through. It's what I want to get done. And it's just going to be a lot of me, climbing up, counting blocks and building a square. So instead of showing you counting with Mountain, let me just show you, wow, look what I did, and we'll try and quickly skip over to now the build being done. I'm not going to try and do a fancy cutscene like before, that was annoying. Back in a moment. Well, it's safe to say that it has been a little bit of time since that last clip. Would you not agree, Trot? We've had to make a few trips backwards and forwards to be able to complete the shell of the fish market. Now, we are excluding those 2 docks that we've already spoken about, that we want to actually have ships, docked at, so that we can actually use the crane to get the goodies from, that sort of stuff. So, they're excluded. But other than that, we do have the shell of the fish market. Let's spin around and have a bit of a look here. Now, I had to walk up a little bit just because the chains don't quite render in when we get further away, but if we shoot on up, see there's the shaft we're talking about that'd be rotating with all the crane on top with the gear up there, and then smack bang up you can see we have ourselves our crane. Now, you can see that the chains are kind of like floating-ish there. They're sort of rendering in. They look like they might be just like sort of scratches on the screen. But if we actually spin on over and run over there, you can see that they start to render in. And unfortunately, I'm not too sure what I can use other than chains to create the chains coming down to collect the goodies, As you can see, I've started working already on the dock, but yeah, I think that comes up alright. But enough saying it from down here, let's actually head up and have a look at it. Before we do head up to the top floor though, I do want to point out that I did actually include our little bit of a balcony. As you can see, we've got our nice flooring there with our lectern trim, and yeah, nothing fancy, it's just a bit of a balcony. Let's make our way up to the crane now, shall we? Alright, so up here at the top level of our fish market has changed ever so slightly since our last time being up here. I mean, for example, I've gone around and placed in these copper, just sort of dressings, I think they kind of are. They're just something to help make it stand out and look a little bit different, because I was AFK over at the iron farm, and when I was looking back over here, this looked quite plain. Partially why I also put some vines in there just to give a little bit of breakaway in the colour and sort of help stand it out. But we also included in our shaft driving all the way up, which actually allows us to turn and, use the crane. But we do have to climb up this very scary ladder, which has been all good so far. I haven't fallen off. The next part's a little bit tricky, and it's only doable since the newest update, where they allowed us on Bedrock to actually crawl under half slabs. So that's how we get up here, and as you can see, no interiors being done, but here is our crane leading all the way out. We've got a block here so you can stand up and see. We've got the supporting chains holding up to sort of the counterweight support beam, I think it is, that's sort of holding up this car, or holding out this arm so the crane can actually lift up the goodies. And we've sort of just gone along with the non-stripped spruce and just decorated with the copper bandings, so that way we had somewhere to attach both the chains to the support, as well as we might not be able to see it exactly from here, but as well as the actual support beams that the upside down grindstones that hold the chains that actually run through the mechanism. But yeah, this actually came up quite nice. I did decide it was going to be a bit more of like the andesite there and the the acacia to sort of look a bit more like a steel metal frame for supporting, and then I wanted to have the bright orange roof with the copper and the acacia logs, as well as a stripped variety of it with the honeycomb block there, so that you could sort of see like, hey, this is a big visible roof. It's like the beacon that lets you know there's something tall in the sky here, as well as having the full surround sort of viewing with all the glass panes and that sort of stuff, which I did just manage to run out of before. Now, this is looking really cool, but unfortunately, I have to call it now. This has taken almost like 2 months of just working and prep work and that sort of stuff, and doing this part-time sort of stuff is not easy. So I'm going to call it here at this point of the episode, and maybe next time, or I might jump onto a live stream where I go through and do the interior for all of this. But I am just so grateful that I was able to actually get something this big built up in my world, in kind of a reasonable amount of time. But before we wrap up here, let's head back over to the viewing tree. Alright, now that we're here back at the viewing tree, we can sort of make our final notes on, as I said, the shell of the fish market, because I just can't, I don't have enough time to get this all interior decorated, done, and that sort of stuff, and still get this episode out without losing my mind. But I think it's a good spot to sort of end this. I mean, like, we started off with nothing here, built up a dirt little platform of ideas, and have created just a real sort of eye-catching moment in our world. Like, if people come around here, they're going to see this and be like, okay, what's the story here? What's going on? I can see there's a massive big tower. You've got like a moat around, well, not a moat, a bridge around this area. It's a bit more off of the, the land. It really just has its own little tale to it. And I do like the little touches of green that this vine is adding. I think I need to go up and bring it up a little bit higher around some of the sections where we've got that uploading crane section there for the second floor, if you want to call it. But yeah, I think that this has come up really well. I have almost lost my mind twice while making this. It's been very tedious, a lot of going backwards and forwards, but it has turned out really well, and I'm really happy with it. And I hope you guys, you guys think that it was worth the wait, and I really appreciate you all who have tuned in and gotten up to this point. So thank you all so much, and yeah, I'm going to call it here, and until next time, bye!